In the modern world filled with distractions, comparisons, and constant external pressures, it's easy to lose sight of our true selves. We become caught up in seeking validation from others, chasing after success, and trying to meet society's expectations. But in doing so, we often find ourselves feeling empty, restless, and unfulfilled. The Buddha, in his infinite wisdom, taught that the secret to a life filled with peace and joy lies in focusing inward. Not from a place of selfishness, but from a place of cultivating wisdom, inner peace, and true understanding. Let's explore how focusing on yourself can bring about a life-changing transformation based on Buddhist principles. 1. The illusion of seeking happiness outside. When we seek happiness in external things, success, material wealth, or even relationships, we fall into a trap. Society conditions us to believe that these things are the key to happiness. But Buddha taught us that nothing external can provide lasting fulfillment. All material possessions and status are impermanent. No matter how much we accumulate, we are still left feeling empty. True happiness lies not in what we have, but in what we perceive within ourselves. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to look inward to discover what truly matters. When we shift our focus from the world around us to our inner world, a powerful transformation begins. This path leads to enlightenment, self-realization, and lasting peace. 2. The illusion of external validation. The world around us is constantly pulling us in different directions. Social media, relationships, career ambitions, and the desire for material possessions. We are conditioned to believe that these external factors are the key to happiness. But Buddha said, external circumstances are like the waves of the ocean. They rise and fall. If we anchor our happiness to something that is always changing, we will be constantly tossed around by life's unpredictability. True happiness comes not from the external, but from how we perceive and relate to life. 3. The example of Prince Siddhartha. Consider the life of Prince Siddhartha before he became the Buddha. Surrounded by luxury and abundance, he had everything that the world considers valuable. Yet, despite all of this, he still felt an emptiness that material wealth could never fill. His journey towards enlightenment began when he shifted his focus inward, asking the difficult questions. What is the nature of suffering? Why do we experience pain and dissatisfaction? It was this inward journey, this shift in perspective, that led him to wisdom and ultimately to liberation. 4. Mindfulness, the key to breaking free. Mindfulness is the practice that helps us break free from the illusions of external validation. It allows us to be fully present and aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Through meditation and self-inquiry, we learn to detach from the false promises of the external world and embrace the present moment. Buddha said, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. By shifting our focus inward and cultivating mindfulness, we begin to control our thoughts and emotions rather than letting them control us. This practice of mindfulness gives us the ability to observe our patterns of attachment, fear, and desire, and recognize them for what they truly are, temporary conditions of the mind. 5. The power of self-reflection. Focusing on oneself isn't about isolation. It's about self-discovery and cultivating inner clarity. When we take the time to reflect on our thoughts, desires, and fears, we can begin to understand why we act the way we do. Self-inquiry is like holding up a mirror to our inner world. We must ask ourselves, what are my deepest fears and desires? What is causing my suffering? What can I control? And what must I accept? The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment. We cling to approval, memories, or fear of the future, trapping ourselves in cycles of dissatisfaction. The practice of detachment is key to liberation. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means understanding that everything is impermanent, like a lotus that blooms in muddy water but remains unstained. We must learn to live fully in the world without being controlled by it. 6. Finding joy in impermanence. Buddha shared a profound story that illustrates the power of detachment. In the story, a man is hanging from a rope over a cliff, while a tiger waits below. Above him, mice chew through the rope. Instead of panicking, the man notices a wild strawberry growing beside him and savors its sweetness. The lesson here is clear. Life is impermanent, but joy can be found in the present moment if we let go of fear and attachment. By practicing detachment, we create space for wisdom. We no longer react emotionally to situations, but respond with clarity and peace. Understanding that everything, both joy and sorrow, passes with time, helps us free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and cultivate inner peace. 7. The discipline of self-transformation. Transformation requires self-discipline and commitment. Change doesn't happen overnight. It's a lifelong practice of cultivating wisdom and letting go of ignorance. Self-discipline is the bridge between knowledge and realization. Buddha said, "To conquer oneself is a greater task than conquering others." The journey towards mastery of oneself begins with meditation and mindfulness. By becoming aware of our reactions, we gain the power to choose our responses rather than being driven by impulse. This discipline of the mind allows us to focus on what truly matters: our personal growth, wisdom, and inner peace. 8. True freedom lies in mastering the mind. True freedom doesn't mean doing whatever we want. It lies in mastering our own minds. When we stop being slaves to our desires, fears, and external pressures, we experience profound peace. A Buddhist monk once shared his experience of living in a remote monastery. With no distractions, he realized that happiness didn't come from possessions, but from a quiet and disciplined mind. Simplicity leads to clarity. By removing distractions, we discover a deep, unshakable sense of contentment. 9. Compassion grows from inner peace. As we focus on ourselves and cultivate wisdom, we begin to develop compassion for others. When we no longer get lost in our own suffering, we can help others with a pure heart, without attachment or expectation. Buddha taught us to be a light unto yourself. Only when we have clarity and wisdom can we serve the world in a meaningful way. 10. The ultimate goal, lasting peace and enlightenment. Focusing on yourself is not about isolation or selfishness. It's about self-discovery, cultivating inner peace, and growing in wisdom. When we stop seeking happiness outside ourselves and turn inward, we unlock a transformative power that leads to lasting joy and enlightenment. By practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, detachment, and self-discipline, we align ourselves with the true nature of existence. The world may always be unpredictable, but inner peace is always within reach, if we choose to cultivate it. Buddha's wisdom reminds us that the journey within is the greatest journey of all. If you truly focus on yourself, the change you seek will naturally unfold, leading you to a life of peace, wisdom, and boundless joy. By focusing on yourself, you are not retreating from the world, but instead empowering yourself to live fully with purpose and clarity. Are you ready to begin this transformative journey? Start by taking the time to reflect, breathe, and embrace the wisdom that lies within you. The path to peace and enlightenment is just a step away.